Hi and welcome. I'm Damon Bruce and you're watching 2K Sports. Friday Hoops Fest coming up next. It'll be the Chicago Bulls facing off against the Houston Rockets. And now things about to get going. Let's turn to Kevin, Clark, and Steve who've got the call in Houston.
Get ready everyone for Tuesday afternoon NBA action on 2K Sports. This is Kevin Arlen here with Steve Kerr and Clark Kellogg. Doris Burke will join us moments from now from courtside. A quick check now at the starting lineups for both teams. Okay, first for the Bulls, D. Rose and Jimmy Butler, the backcourt. And down low, the two-time NCAA champion in Florida, the 6'11 tornado of energy and effort. It's the big man, Joakim Noah. Then it's Dang, and it's Boozer in at the power forward position. And then for the Houston Rockets, adding the backcourt, Jeremy Lin along with James Harden. And it's center, the most dominant physical presence in the NBA, the elite defensive big man, Dwight Howard. Then there's Chandler Parsons, and it's Ashik in at the 4.
You know, the Rockets turned a lot of heads last season, guys, as they got back into the playoffs after missing out the year before. A big part of that was how they played at home. They were very tough to beat in Houston.
And the Rockets, as you said, Clark, strong at home, and that can be seen in that record of 29-12. Just the kind of home record, Steve, you need to get into the playoffs.
And it was the way the Rockets played that was so impressive, Kevin. They attacked the rim, and then they kick out and bomb a ton of threes. And I think that's the kind of attack, the kind of style that can really bring a friendly crowd and bring them to their feet. And I thought that the Houston fans got more and more animated as the season went on. He is so athletic, Kevin, and for a guy his size, one of the best athletes I think this league has ever seen. And what makes him so important to his team is just the defense, the shot blocking, the anticipation, the speed, the dominance in that paint area.
Yeah, when you're 6'11", Steve, strong and can jump the way Dwight Howard does, I think it just comes with the territory. Whether he's sending shots back, throwing them down, everything is done with authority.
And both free throws good for Howard.
You know, one of the more compelling postseason stories, the question about when the Bulls would bring Derrick Rose back just continued to hover around the playoffs. Ultimately, just never happened.
Now here's Rose. Pass to Dang. He feeds it to Butler. Outside Rose. 5 to shoot. Stolen by Jeremy Lin. Oh, and a fast break for the Rockets. Howard dishes to Harden.
Well, at least the defender got his money's worth on that one.
Yep, that was an easy whistle for the official.
First trip to the free throw line for him in this one.
Well, he was somebody you didn't want to put at the line a year ago. He made 85% of his attempts.
And guys, the numbers don't lie. I mean, he was such a reliable presence at the free throw line all throughout last season.
The first one falls. Harden hits them both.
Steady work at the free throw line. Just what we're used to seeing out of him.
Here's Chicago. 4-point game. Butler with the ball.
Rose.
It's Noah with the drive. And it's going to be 2 free throws. Drew contact on the shot.
You know, Boozer had his name floated around at the trade deadline last season, guys. There were a number of teams that were very interested in having his physicality and scoring ability down low.
That's good from Boozer. And you wonder why Boozer's name would be floated in trade rumors. I mean, one of the top rebounding power forwards in the game can score inside and outside.
Well, I think, Kevin, teams are becoming more and more cap conscious with the new collective bargaining agreement. And Boozer is a very highly paid player, so even though he's productive, I think some people are going to look at that contract and maybe shy away from it.
You know, the Rockets did a lot to make over their backcourt last season as they brought in two big names in Jeremy Lin and James Harden. And that's not always an easy adjustment. Took a little time for both of those guys to figure out how to coexist in the pick and roll offense.
And Clark, as you said, it took some time for this Houston backcourt to learn how to play with each other, but that is the case for any duo. Eventually, Steve, they found a happier medium, and that initiated some great offense between them.
Well, they were much more effective down the stretch last season, Kevin, and I thought it really showed in the way Lin and Harden kind of played off of each other. So, you know, a lot of teams, they seem to want to have that second option for bringing the ball up or for attacking, and it is very effective to have a couple of guys who can each attack and create.
Now, here's Boozer, and he drops in the layup off the glass. Houston has come out of the gates quickly. Doris Burke has some information for us. Doris?
Well, Kevin McHale had a few moments for me. He said a big key for them will be containing Carlos Boozer offensively, adding, he's a player who can spread the floor with his jump shot or take you down the block, and it's tough to match his strength inside. Defensively, they'll look to keep length in front of him and limit his offensive rebounding. Sounds like a good game plan, guys. We'll see how they do it.
Thanks, Doris.
You know, to me, one reason why Carlos Boozer is such a valuable scorer is that he can hurt you in a multitude of ways inside. He can hit the rainbow jumper of his, and when he's back to the basket, can go over both shoulders very well.
The Bulls have converted 1 of 2 free throws so far today. That's good from Boozer. Houston making a switch here. Smith is checked in. He's off on the second. On defense, Chicago. Now the feed to Parsons. Nice pass, nice catch, and a resounding dunk.
Boy, he is a strong finisher on the fast break.
Yeah, he sure is. He remains in total control, even at full speed. I love that about him.
The first quarter of action, 2 minutes in. And for Boozer, you remember the story. Growing up in Alaska, his dad tied his right hand to his waist so he'd have to develop his left, and that was something that he worked on even more when he went to Duke.
Well, yeah, his left hand is fantastic. I mean, that's his preferred hand when he's finishing around the rim. A right-handed jump shooter, but anything around the basket is usually his left. So he probably owes his dad a debt of gratitude for tying him up all the time.
That's one way to put it. Here's Lin, following the score by Derrick Rose.
That is not enough coverage. Got to do better than that defensively. Basically, no coverage. I mean, defense did not look very good there.
Butler with the ball, and it's Harden picking him up. Butler kicks to Boozer. He passes to Rose. Feeds it to Noah. Clock at 6. The kick out to Rose from deep. It's rebounded by Houston.
Well, the Bulls battled in last year's postseason. Got a Game 7 win in Brooklyn to sneak out of round 1 in what was one of the more interesting series of the first round, but then fell to the Heat in round 2. Maybe could have tried for a more memorable dunk than that.
And we know he's capable of those memorable dunks.
But, you know, they've got a nice lead. Don't take any chances. The simple one-hander is just fine.
And the Bulls making a change here. Gibson's checked in. And for the Bulls, no Rose the whole time, and they had questions constantly being asked if he would return, but the team came together, Steve, and showed the Bulls aren't just a one-man show.
You know, they missed him, though, Kevin, I mean, desperately. I thought they performed admirably, but they really needed him against the Heat. They were able to steal game one in that Eastern Conference semifinal matchup, but without him, the Bulls just didn't have enough firepower to beat Miami.
Harden against Butler. Harden the pass to Parsons. He kicks it to Smith. It's stolen by Dunleavy. And here we go. The Bulls fast break. Dunleavy with the ball. And some nice ball movement here by Chicago. Butler attacking. And it's sent back by Howard. And they're able to recover. Heinrich dishes to Butler. Here's Beverly, guarded by Heinrich. And he was fouled on the way up. 2 free throws now for him.
Boy, I tell you, the Bulls showed how resilient they could be without Derrick Rose last season. They played competitive basketball, but up against the Western Conference, they just didn't quite have the same punch. Got beat up pretty good out west.
And the first one at the line is good. And back to the Bulls against the West. Not sure what exactly their shortcomings were, but in the end, Steve, they were only able to win 11 games out of the 30 they played out of conference.
You know, the Bulls were a team that could win games on grit and toughness, but the West was a lot more talented last year than the East. And so some nights Chicago just kind of ran into reality, and they didn't have enough talent to deal with some of those Western teams.
Both free throws good from Beverly.
Tell you what, you've got to give the Houston Rockets a lot of credit, guys. After losing their franchise players to injury and age back in 09, they've managed to rebuild this team without tanking for lottery picks or going all the way to the bottom of the heap. Very impressive.
Now here's Rose. Heinrich kicks to Rose. And the layup's good off the glass. Rose has got his second basket.
He's got so much junk in his trunk. He'll find a way to hurt you.
And for the Rockets, they've been very shrewd acquiring undervalued players, trading for draft picks. Steve, all in the hopes of swinging big trades for superstars.
Well, then when they acquired James Harden, they finally got a cornerstone player. Now all of a sudden you throw in Dwight Howard, you've got another foundational player. So all these years of tinkering and trading and moving picks and moving players, it's finally paid off, and now he's got the team he was hoping to put together.
3 seconds separate the shot clock and game clock. Pass to Gibson. Yes, and it's Rose with the assist that time. Gibson's got his first bucket in this one.
Great looking bounce pass to set up that play.
Up in time. Got him up in time, but it's no good. And that does it for the first quarter. Rockets ahead. They're up by 8. Stay with us as we get set to bring you the second quarter right after this. And the first quarter is in the books. Second about ready to get underway. And when you consider how the Rockets are doing, Steve, Clark, what are your thoughts?
And how about the defense, guys? They have really controlled the lane with their shot blocking.
Yeah, excellent defense there. Every shot has either been altered or rejected.
Bulls trail by 8. And Doris Burke has something for us. Hey, Doris.
Guys, it might surprise you that when James Harden was back in college at Arizona State, he had an influence you might not guess. Former NBA player and coach Doug Collins, who often visited Phoenix. Harden said, quote, "He taught me a lot. He mentored me, told me I had to have a motor. I was nonchalant, just sort of chill. My sophomore year, the reason I came back to college was to learn to build my motor up. He was the reason for that. Guys, always great to have that kind of guidance along the way."
It certainly is. Thank you, Doris.
He's really dedicated himself, and we've seen the results on the court.
And guys, let's get your take on the scoring breakdown so far for the Rockets.
We got a storyline here. If it goes on for the rest of the game, it could be all those points they're getting at the foul line.
And I like the physical play we're seeing, too, because this is a club that's really pounding the paint area and scoring inside.
You know, if you're in a fight to get into the playoffs out west like the Rockets were last season, you have to make sure you get every win you can when you play against the Eastern Conference. Their success against the Eastern Conference was a big part of how they squeezed that 8th seed.
Taj Gibson's checked in for Noah. He hits the second from the line. Well, Clark, you were talking about the Rockets against the East, a record of 21-9 against the conference. And Steve, it was one of the better marks in the West.
Yeah, it was the same win total as the Clippers and Thunder, who both won their divisions. So, only the Spurs and Grizzlies did better in that regard. And the Rockets were full of scoring potential, and I think just happened to catch teams in the East off guard a little bit.
Now here's Dang. Quiet so far offensively, searching for his first points of the game.
They're being very one-dimensional right now, going to the post every time. But if it works, you don't need another dimension.
Well, they're taking this defense to task, quite honestly. Every one of their last 10 points have come in the paint.
And the free throw, no good.
People have talked about the defensive renaissance in Chicago as a big part of their turnaround, and that's accurate. Thibs has done wonders for this team defensively, but another aspect is that they've had one of the deepest benches in the league the past few years, too.
Heinrich. So the whistle blows on the shot and 2 free throws for the contact right there. Go back to what you said, Clark, about Chicago. It is a credit to them that they've been able to constantly add or draft talent that is ready to step in for them. And Steve contribute off the bench.
Yeah, no doubt about that. You think about Taj Gibson, a late first-round pick. Jimmy Butler last year really emerged as one of the best young players in the league. Great story. So terrific job by the Bulls front office in figuring out which player to take later in the first round.
The Rockets making a switch here. Beverly's checked in. And both free throws good from Heinrich.
A bit of an odd year for Kirk Heinrich, who normally is a very efficient player, but started off last season shooting way below his career norms from the floor. Ran the team pretty well, but it was kind of strange to see him shoot so poorly.
Howard, the pass to Harden. That's tipped. It's stolen by Heinrich. Second quarter, we're a little over a minute and a half in. They get the rebound. Blanketed by the D. Fights to the rim for the layup. And it's 6 points for Carlos Boozer.
He got a great read of where that miss was going, and that allowed him to be the first guy to it and get the putback.
And going back to Heinrich, more of a jump shooter offensively. Sometimes that shot can come in, of course, you don't go.
Yeah, he's not the scorer that he once was in his younger days, but the main attribute for Heinrich is his defense. Just an incredible defender, great footwork, fundamentals, anticipation, and much stronger than he looks. He can guard ones and twos.
And the first time out of the game called for Chicago.
Well, you watch the way Parsons moves, and you see how quickly he's able to shift and change direction. And you forget that Chandler Parsons is 6'10", because he moves like a much smaller guy. He's a terrific all-around player.
Joakim Noah, he's checked in for Carlos Boozer. Quarter number 2, we're about 2 minutes in. Scooped up. Noah, good work defensively by Smith.
He's far too tentative in the paint, and even more so when the defender is up tight on him like that's how.
And let's now go to the sideline. We'll catch up here with Doris Burke. Doris?
Gentlemen, last season it seemed there was a little back and forth between head coach Tom Thibodeau and the Bulls front office regarding the big minutes he gave his starters. Thibodeau said, quote, "It's never the right amount of minutes. That's the only thing I know. If a guy's not playing big minutes, it's not enough minutes. And if a guy's playing big minutes, it's too many minutes. So you play to win. That's the whole thing. And when you're a young team, guys can handle minutes. But guys, both Dang and Noah missed significant time. Noah only playing 66 games in the regular season. Dang out through the last 7 games of the playoffs. You wonder if maybe they have a point.
They've worked to round out the roster. That should help those minutes stay down. And now the first timeout called here for the Rockets. And back to Parsons. Clark, you talked about his mobility, a good defender too, and for a young player that's rare. So you look at his size, ability to move his feet, and the upside certainly is there. Then you put him with a guy like Kevin McHale as his coach. Nice array of talent. He's got a good situation.
He does. He's got a bright future, and I'm most impressed with his defense. You talked about a lot of his skills, but Houston will frequently put him on the opponent's best wing offensive player.
Francisco Garcia, he's checked in for Houston. And a little under 2.5 minutes gone by here in the second quarter. Harden kicks to Parsons. In low to Howard. And fouled hard that time. He'll get to the line and shoot two. That's on Joakim Noah.
Dwight Howard is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, and, when he's healthy, he can really anchor a defense inside with his rebounding and shot blocking. A real force in the paint.
He misses the free throw. And Clark, for Howard, you said when he's right. But the last few seasons, Steve, I think that's become an issue. Injuries have been a problem.
For sure, his production has waned. He had the disc issue in his back that numbed out one of his legs last year, had to have back surgery. So, you think about everything else, the torn labrum in his shoulder. He's taken a pounding over the years. Not a good foul shooter, so people really hit him hard and force him to the line. You wonder if maybe that has something to do with the injuries.
So he comes up empty, missing both.
Tell you what, it's hard to argue with the record for Coach Tom Thibodeau of the Bulls, but the rumor mill has it that the front office hasn't been happy with how hard he's ridden his top players. Luol Deng missed time last season with the hamstring injury. Joakim Noah came down with plantar fasciitis. Hey, those things happen, and I'm not quite sure you can put that at the feet of Tom Thibodeau.
Butler dishes to Heinrich. 1:57 left in the first half. Rose kicks to Heinrich. Back to Rose. Shot clock at 5. The Bulls need to get a shot off here. Unis with the steal, and they're pushing it up. Here's Garcia, and he uses the glass on the layup. And the Rockets lead by 3.
That's exactly what you want coming off a steal. Get into transition, find an easy basket.
Yes, sir. The ideal fast break opportunity there.
And going back to Tom Thibodeau and that minutes load on his stars, it seems it's getting harder for players to weather big minutes, Steve, these days.
I think it's going to be really interesting going forward to see this Bulls team this year and beyond. Will that wear them down? Their guys play too many minutes. They've had a lot of injuries. I think it's time to scale back a little bit on the minutes played.
I think they need to get much more disruptive defensively. They can't just keep allowing these easy baskets.
I agree. They need more energy in the post, maybe some double teaming. They've got to get their defense in gear.
It's Howard with the drive. Misses off the left iron.
The fadeaway was the right shot there because it got his attempt away from the defender, but the touch was poor.
Heinrich passes to Noah. Bulls moving the ball around. Here's Boozer. Knocks down the 10-footer. Boozer's got 10.
Well, it looks like he's finally found his footing in this game. His first quarter was a real struggle, but he's got it going now.
And Beverly kicks down.
Ridiculous move. Tore it down that time. Forget about finesse and agility. This big fella's all about power and force.
Chicago trailing here. Just 2 seconds between shot clock and game clock. Beverly dishes to Howard. Puts the lead pass in front of him. And he gets it to go as they call the foul. He's on his way to the line for one more.
Heard the whistle and still kept his focus, able to knock that down.
And that is not easy, Steve. I mean, to take the bump, to maintain control of your body, and put it in the hole, tremendous play.
17 seconds left in the second quarter. Dang passes to Rhodes. Boozer with the screen for Rhodes. Kicks it to Gibson. With 1 on the clock. No good on that last second attempt there. And a tight game here as we end the first half. Rockets lead by 4. Folks, stay tuned for the halftime show with Damon Bruce for all the highlights from our first half.
And now, brought to you by Sprint.
And it's been a great game out in Houston. Thanks for joining us. The Rockets playing with passion. Offensively, they're making it look ridiculously easy. Everything's falling. Dwight Howard's their top scorer. He's got 7 points and seems to have a hand in every defensive play. He's all over the court. And the Bulls going all out. Wiping the glass defensively. Look, no streaks. They're preventing any second chance opportunities. The first half performance by Carlos Boozer was terrific. The bucket looks about 5 feet wide for him. He hasn't missed one shot. Can you believe it? That will be all for us. Thanks for stopping in. We'll see you next time.
The Sprint Halftime Report, presented by Sprint.